My name's Megan, and I have been on a journey of healing, and I really want to share my experiences. I want people to find help for healing. I am so passionate about different holistic avenues of healing. I have struggled the last 4.5-ish years. So I got COVID in 2020, and a year later I had IBS diarrhea, and it has been ongoing ever since. And it's just been such a journey. It's been so difficult, and I think a lot of people are having post-COVID problems. And so what I was doing was going through insurance, talking to the GI doctors, and unfortunately with insurance, just a lot of times doctors are not given the leeway to actually do extra testing, which is what is necessary to actually fix the problem. Unfortunately, it's all about making money and just popping pills, and I know insurance just like squashes like the doctor's abilities to do anything, and it's just such a challenge, right? So after about like 9 months of just kind of going through the system of trying a couple of different pills, my mom heard about this gal, and she's this amazing research doctor down in Southern California, Dr. Sabine Hazen, and she's just so wonderful. And we went on a 3-year journey together. We were doing a stomach cleanse, and it's one of those, it's like maple syrup and cayenne pepper and a gallon of water and a couple of other things, and you drink it a whole gallon on like one day, and then the next day you drink a whole nother gallon. And basically it's just killing all of the bad bacteria in your body. And that was the first time in like 9 months that my stomach finally felt calmer, because it was so like burning, digestive pain, upset stomach all the time. It was so hard to work. You know, I was on Imodium every day, and it was such a struggle. It was such a struggle. And my mom had just randomly heard about her. And so then the next 6 months, I was doing some really good healing with her. We were doing like smoothies with Activia yogurt and Siggy's yogurt, and a lot of probiotics and prebiotics, things like XOS prebiotic powder. And she has her own biome booster. It's like a bovine, some sort of like immunoglobulin thing, and it basically pulls the bad stuff out of your gut, and it helps grow. Everything is to like grow good bacteria. So essentially what she saw in her scope was I had 23% extra bad bacteria, and I had no good gut bacteria in my body. And so we were getting some really good headway. And then about a year after I had started with her, I was working in a school site, and I was struggling with head colds, and I get head colds at least once a month, 7 to 10 days, super sick as a dog sick. And I've actually always been like this throughout my childhood. And it was such a struggle because I think at that point it was like 2022, and I was at my school site, and every other week, especially in the wintertime, I was getting a head cold every other week, and I was wearing a mask, and I was doing everything. And you know, I was testing for COVID. They made us test like every week for a whole entire year from like 2021 to like 2022. I did not get the COVID vaccine. And my GI doctor said if you had gotten that, it would have killed you. Way too many things in there that I was so sick, like my body could not handle any other things in my body at that time. And I still have never, gotten the vaccine. So I had COVID once in 2020, and I had COVID one other time in 2023. And so I was just getting so sick. And actually at that point, right before I started getting my really bad head colds over and over again, I stopped seeing Dr. Hazen because we were doing so well. It was like this miracle. It was so wonderful. And then my body started spiraling down and down and down. So like December, I started talking and getting her going and getting more appointments with her again, and she does everything virtually, which is really helpful. And so we went on this journey, and we kind of just kept testing stuff, and we kept trying little things here and there, but it was kind of like a lot of waiting at that point, unfortunately. It was just it was just kind of like the waiting game, doing testing. And like, she was always kind of asking me, are you anxious? And I'm like, well, yeah, you know, I'm sick. Like, of course I'm anxious. Okay, so I had to go drop something off. But so my body was just declining again. And in like August of 2023, we got to the point where Dr. Hazen wanted to implant a fecal transplant. And it's exactly what you think. Implanting someone else's feces who's healthy, young, has good gut bacteria. And what they do is you do a colonoscopy, which is the second of mine, by the way. Ew, TMI. You know, but I'm all about healing and helping, so you just got to be real, right? And so the fecal transplant, we were trying to get a match to see if my brother could be a match, but he had the COVID vaccine, so he wasn't a candidate anymore, unfortunately. As it turns out, people who got the COVID vaccine were not able to implant for any of their fecal transplants. She put so much extra in, like the fecal matter with the probiotics. She put so much extra in, and she says it popped out. None of it like implanted like it was supposed to. And it's just so difficult. People are just struggling so much because of COVID and because of the vaccine. And so when I was trying to test for mine, my husband actually has no good bacteria in his gut, and both of my parents, they're older, so the expectation was we shouldn't even test them, but they wanted a test just in case. They have no good bacteria in their gut. They have leaky gut, and it turns out later I have leaky gut as well as a bunch of other things. But so nobody was a relative match of mine or anything like that. And so we did it. We went down to Hollywood, that's where she works, and we did the fecal transplant, and it just did not implant in my body. It didn't stay in there. And I didn't know what diet was good, because I was so used to low carb and low sugar from like 8th grade on. And so it was basically keto. It had a bunch of different names, but I always did keto growing up, and that always seemed to work for me, but I did struggle losing weight. It was always very difficult for me, but keto seemed to like be pretty consistent. And so I did not have any good diet. Like, I did low FODMAP, which is like no onions and garlics and things that are just going to be kind of like irritating and aggressive to your gut lining. But that didn't seem to really make a difference. Like, nothing really made a difference what I ate, because it just didn't matter. So everything just like passed through my system, nothing implanted. And so we were like, okay, so what's the next step? And we had talked all about doing another fecal transplant, which is like so expensive, by the way. She's a research doctor, so you pay out of pocket. We've paid thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Oh my gosh, just to learn all of this, because she's not covered by insurance whatsoever. And so about a year later, I finally decided to be like, okay, we're done. We can't keep spending this money. It's not really working. My body is still crashing. Like, we don't know what's going on. I have my main symptoms are like obese, can't lose weight, nauseated. I am always nauseated every day for the last 4 years. It is horrible. There's a cool bracelet I'll show you guys next time that helps knock down the nausea, and it's not a drug. It's non-drug. So it's just like something that zaps your vagus nerve. You wear it on your wrist, and it really helps like knock down the nausea, at least somewhat. I would say like 80% of it, but then I still have major flare-ups. So I'm always nauseated, which makes you want to eat carbs. Full body pain, every muscle, every tendon, every bone. Like, it's on fire all the time. All the time. Just exhausted. Wasn't sleeping. Yeah, of course, the IBS with diarrhea was like an ongoing constant. Migraines now, that's new. The last 2 years, I've started adding migraines to my list of things. It used to be when I didn't sleep, I'd have a migraine, but also very much stress related. And then also very much like weather patterns. So anytime it's rainy or cloudy now, like the atmospheric pressure, there's research all about that. And so that's what I was noticing about that. And then so I, said, like, I'm done. And I was going through therapy at the time, and I was just like, all right, well, this is just my life. I mean, I hadn't drank caffeine in 3.5 years. I was exhausted, because caffeine really upsets the gut lining. So don't do that for sure. Unless you're able to find out, how to heal. And it's just super difficult. So I was processing my grief with my therapist, my biblical counselor, and just getting through, and I had accepted it. I was like, this is going to be my life forever. I'm never going to be healthy. My husband and I had been married like 2 years at that time, 2.5 years. We can't have kids because I am so sick. I would probably not even survive pregnancy, nor would I be able to have a healthy baby, because it's really interesting. What I learned is my microbiome in my gut matches my father's exactly verbatim, because when they did the gut test, they're like, is your personality more like your dad or you're like your mom? And I said, it's like my dad. And she's like, I can tell in the microbiome of the gut you have the same. And it's interesting because my mom is more like my brother, and so I don't think she did like sit there and compare theirs, but I would bet $100 that they had the same microbiome as well, because they have the same, very similar personalities. It's just amazing. Like, the body is weird and interesting and amazing. So I found one of my friends from church, and she had been going through a lot of stuff, and so she recommended this functional medicine place, and this is where the story gets better. And so back in July of 2024, I hooked up with this place. It's in Minnesota, but they do virtual appointments, thank God. And so the virtual appointments were started in July. It's called Synapse Center for Health and Healing, and I tell everybody about them because they are wonderful. The gal I work with, her name is Carrie. She understands. She's basically been through everything I've been through. So we did all this testing. We did blood, urine, stool sample. We did an allergy test. Like, what am I allergic to? What am I sensitive to? And so when it came back, the allergy test is what showed, like, hey, you're allergic and sensitive to mold. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what that means. And she's like, that means that you have mold in your environment somewhere that is causing this. And so she's like, so we have to test your house. We tested my house for mold. No mold in our house, thank the Lord. But then we found that the school site I was at had severe mold, and I'm not going to say the name just because old buildings in California, anytime potential flooding, that's what causes mold in your house. So if anybody's really, really sick, find a functional medicine doctor and, have them test for mold, because I have so much mold in my body, and that is why the fecal transplant didn't take, and that is why I'm not getting better, and that is why, like, all of these things are happening. And so, like, thank God there was finally a reason. It was like almost 4 years in, I never had a reason why I was so sick, and I could not be happier, because Carrie gets it. She has mold herself from her old work site. She's got a lot of the same, like, concerns that I do. And so, like, she totally gets me. She's like, this is not your fault. Like, I've been busting my butt trying to, like, just, get healthy, because I'm doing everything anybody's ever asking me to. I'm very focused on my healing journey, and, like, I take data and I talk about, like, all the things that I eat, and I talk about my symptoms, and I journal everything. You have to have the data, because you have to be a partner with your practitioners. Like, they can't do it all themselves. Like, we have such a responsibility as the sick person, to deal and to be, like, on board with them as much as we possibly is a lot of work. Just going to appointments is a lot of work. So that really started us on this good journey. So like in November, the recommendation for mold was going to an infrared sauna at least twice a week for half an hour. So I started doing that. And then I also do an IV every week with glutathione, and that helps get the mold out of my body. So detoxing, there we go, detoxing. And it's I started to feel like I had a little bit more of a clear head every time I would go to the sauna, and it would help take a break from like my body pain for like a good half hour after I would do that. So I was doing that every week, and I'm still doing that. It's like 6 months in, and I've been doing that every week. And like that was the key. And then a lot of stuff happened at my school site. They didn't want to remediate the mold. It was this whole thing, and we didn't have money to go to court. So I just said, look, I'm going to go on full disability at this point. I need this break. We're on like disability with the state. And so that way I can stay home and get healthy. And my husband is, working his butt off and being amazing. And I'll be right back. Okay, so then we started doing all of our sauna and things like that. And so when I took a break from work, I was also having to add on chiropractic work, alignment. So that was really helpful for my sleep apnea, my congestion, and just putting my body in alignment, because apparently I have neck and low back issues. And the reason that my stomach wasn't healing, my chiropractor was saying, is that if your back's out of alignment, then your stomach cannot be supported, and it's not functioning properly. And also, if you're not sleeping, you're not healing. And so I wasn't sleeping properly because I didn't have any minerals or nutrients or anything in my body. Nothing was staying in there with the IBS. It was just flushing out of my system. And so my body wasn't retaining any minerals. And so, I don't have any B6 in my body, or magnesium or melatonin or anything that I need for sleeping. And so the chiropractor started out 3 times weekly, and it was so much. And I wasn't quite getting really, really decent adjustments. My gentleman, he was older, and so I think he was just doing the best he can. But once he retired, I was able to go find a guy who's, I think, a little bit more stronger, and he had more of a mobile unit that I would lay on. And so it would move me in probably the perfect position for him to adjust me. And so I went from 3 times a week down to twice a month now. He's like, you're holding really well. That's all going well. He does an occiput adjustment on the back of the sides of my neck to help my body stay in alignment for my sleep apnea. So it's to help you heal and be in good alignment to decrease your sleep apnea, which is another topic I get to talk about later, which is super fun. And so that was going well. And my stomach, so with some of the supplements I was taking, I would take like 45 supplements a day, and there's multiple of those pills within the supplement. So I might take 4 of one supplement, and so there's just so many pills. There's just so many pills. But I wouldn't change a thing because if that's what it takes to heal me and fix it, I will do it, because I'm done feeling this way. And so that's been going really well. And so with some of the tests and stuff, we're looking at just what else was needing to be adjusted. And I found a gal who does massaging and through chiropractors. So I had to email chiropractors, and essentially a person who can massage your liver and gallbladder and bile duct. It's a specialty thing. And so I don't know the exact name of it. I just call it my stomach massager, because my bile duct was not emptying. And my practitioners, my functional medicine people at Synapse think that since I'm having so much nausea, that's a liver gallbladder backup thing. My enzymes are way too high. They're not where they're supposed to be. So they're not functioning enough to detox my body, which is why I'm not detoxing well from the mold. And so I found this gal, and she's great. She's got a lot of wisdom, And so she is massaging my stomach like about once a month or so to empty my bile duct and to help my liver and gallbladder like start processing and functioning and like getting to the appropriate levels that they need to. And so just recently she's like, you're doing well, like I can see the progress happening. And so like finally, it's been like 4.5 years, like finally there's progress happening, and it's just like I could not be happier. It definitely hasn't fixed everything, but I mean, it's just been wonderful to hear so much progress in so many different areas. I've been able to decrease my IV with glutathione. Instead of like weekly, I'm down to like twice a month. And with my stomach massager, I'm doing well. With the chiropractor, I'm doing well. So everything is just, what the ship is slowly turning with like a rudder. It just takes so long for a ship to turn, but we're seeing it happen, but just detox is very slow. It turns out like 75% of people can detox mold appropriately, but then there's just the 25% of us who just can't. And we also suspect that my first house I was in had mold because there was a creek in the backyard. It never flooded when we were there, but the house had been there 50 years before we had ever moved in. So I'm like, I can almost guarantee there was a flood there before we moved in, and that's where mold comes from quite often. So I'm pretty sure that's why I was getting head colds all of my life, just so frequently. I would get one every month for 7 to 10 days, at least once a month my entire life, because I've always just been a really sick person because my body wasn't detoxing mold properly. And then my stomach massager lady, so she did some different like test things on me, and it turns out it's something called an oligoscan. And so she pushes it to your palm and she presses this button, and it can detect all of the heavy metals. That's my bunny rabbit. It can detect all of the heavy metals in your body. And it turns out, what else do I have? I have high levels of heavy metals in my body, like all the things. And so what she said, what I'm doing with the detoxing, she's like, I can see some of your levels are actually lower than most people because you're already doing detoxing. So what we're doing is working, but then also what I had to kind of implement into our lives was non-toxic living. So toxic, there's chemicals in everything is what I'm finding out. And I used to never care about that. Never really cared about organic. I was like, whatever, it's fine, you know? And I just like wanted to live my life, and I didn't need that information at the time, but so we're switching everything over, like organic clothing, like non-toxic toilet paper that doesn't have bleach and chlorine in it, and swapping out soaps so they don't have like toxic chemicals which are like endocrine disruptors, which affect your reproductive system. And I'm like, well, you know, everything I did, like it affected my body horrendously. Like it is really, really bad. So some people can tolerate it and some people just can't. So heavy metals is another big thing. So going toxic free, I've only been doing it for like about 2 months now. And so I don't feel different, but I know that my body is now being given a chance to detox more consistently, because I'm not filling it up with toxins with like, you know, polyester clothing that just gets into your body, and it's just doing those things. And then also something with the IBS, doing a lot of research, the carnivore diet, all meat, that is like the most gentle, the best thing. It's my fridge. The gentle and best thing for your gut is the carnivore diet. And that truly is the most gentle thing on your gut if you have IBS. I have noticed, for me specifically, I have too much nausea. It's my bunny rabbit. She's being a brat right now. I have too much nausea, and so when I do full carnivore, I get really nauseated. So we put in organic rice and organic sweet potatoes. And so that really helps knock it down. Plus, of course, like some supplements are trying to support that as well. So that's been my journey thus far. And with the migraines, my stomach massager lady, she has been recommending that I go check out this interesting allergy kind of program. It's called NAET. I don't know what it stands for. I can't remember. But basically you go and you do one session like every couple of weeks. And basically you're kind of letting your body be around a certain allergen. So if it's like egg, for example, which I am actually allergic to egg, it's like in this, you know, kind of clean room environment, and it's like doing like acupressure, acupuncture, being exposed to the allergen, some muscle testing to see if like where the allergy is, you know, in your body. So it's a lot of interesting stuff. And once I get done, I can kind of share what that's like once I get the first session done. And so we're hoping that if we can kind of get my body adjusted to all of these allergens that I have, maybe the migraines will go down. So that's going to be happening as well. Anyway, so just really kind of looking back on my experience and everything, if you've had any of these symptoms, I would just highly, highly recommend a functional medicine doctor. Nothing I said is medical advice. That was just what the information given to me by my practitioners for my specific disorders or diseases, struggles. And so yeah, definitely I would say just reach out, find somebody who's holistic or functional medicine near you. And yeah, I would just say like chiropractors kind of are the bomb. They understand the body. They understand that the body's connected. Everything is connected to everything else. And so if something over here isn't functioning, it's because something down here isn't functioning. And I love that they look at the whole body as a whole. I think it's what's hard is, you know, in medicine, you have your specialty and it's like, oh, I only focus on like the gut, or I only focus on like the neurology. And so when we don't look at the whole body, I think we really miss the piece that is healing, because with all the supplements I'm being given, we're healing the body. We're not just putting a Band-Aid on the issue. And that's what's super important for you to like get healthy and live long and have better quality of life. And it's always out of pocket, unfortunately, but getting healthy is expensive. But I mean, your health is everything, because otherwise, like, what's the point? It's really hard to live when you are sick chronically and just have no hope. I'm on, you know, antidepressants because it's been so difficult. And so it's just, it affects you. And it affects your caregivers too. My husband's the most amazing caregiver in the world, and we have to treat them so well, because even when we're in pain, we really have to make sure that they know that they are so important to us and that we really care about them. And so I have to really check myself when I'm having a tough day and just be like, I'm not angry at you. I'm just really frustrated because I don't feel good right now. And he's like, yep, totally get it. So he's a total helper, and I just love him so much. I couldn't do this without him. So anyway, yeah, so just do some Googling, you know, search it out. It's so important, and I don't think anybody would regret, you know, trying to heal their body. So check it out.